the last 15 months, this is all the world has seen of Evan Gershkovich. Images of the American Wall Street Journal reporter dragged into cells in Russian courtrooms as his detention was extended again and again and again. The latest sighting was at his espionage trial that began yesterday in Yekaterinburg, 1,500 kilometers from Moscow. Proceedings will be in secret, the courtroom largely empty. Since his arrest last year, the tone from Washington hasn't changed.
The charges against him are false, and the Russian government knows that they are false. He should be released immediately.
That's not likely to happen. First, the Kremlin needs a verdict.
Knowing Russia, you know there's no such thing as an acquittal. You know he's not going to get a fair hearing. You know this is actually not at all about justice.
Eva Hartog is the former editor of the English-language Moscow Times. She hired Gershkovich for his first reporting job in Russia in 2018.
Evan, like myself, Evan has Russian roots, and so he was very curious about the country that his parents were linked to in this very deep way. So that curiosity and enthusiasm really helped convince me and helped him get the job.
By all accounts, Gershkovich thrived in his new role, eventually joining the Wall Street Journal. Hartog has no doubt his arrest has nothing to do with spying and everything to do with politics.
Knowing the context, and Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, has said as much in his interviews, that Evan Gershkovich is just a geopolitical pawn. He's someone to be traded. He's someone to be swapped.
Since his arrest in March 2023, Hartog has stayed in touch with Gershkovich through letters.
I write him, he always writes back. Evan remains unchanged in his letters, in the sense of he's still very upbeat. He makes jokes. He is trying to cheer everyone up. He, from prison in Moscow, is trying to cheer us up, which is very Evan. He's still as witty as he was. He's still as funny.
A worldwide campaign has been mobilized by his family and the Wall Street Journal to free Gershkovich, and U.S. President Joe Biden has repeatedly called for his release.
Journalism is clearly not a crime, not here, not there, not anywhere in the world. And Putin should release Evan, and also immediately.
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
But Vladimir Putin has shown, especially since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, that American prisoners are valuable tools for trade. And Russia specialist Matthew Sussex from the Australian National University says the Kremlin will take full advantage.
The main function it serves is really to get its operatives out of American custody or Western custody, and also I think to show that Russian intelligence is quite pervasive in the West.
Russia exchanged American basketball player Brittany Griner in 2022, who'd been imprisoned on drug charges. In a swap straight out of the Cold War, on the tarmac in Abu Dhabi, convicted Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout walked free after 10 years in a U.S. prison. In an interview with U.S. journalist Tucker Carlson in February, Vladimir Putin essentially admitted Gershkovich would also be swapped.
I do not rule out that the person you refer to, Mr. Gershkovichs, may return to his motherland. By the end of the day, it does not make any sense to keep him in prison in Russia.
There's speculation this is the next prisoner Russia wants, FSB Colonel Vadim Krasakov, now in a German prison, convicted of murdering a Chechen dissident in Berlin in 2019.
To even think about freeing him, there'd have to be a fair bit of diplomacy back and forth, not just in the United States, but between the State Department and Germany.
There's no shortage of other candidates who could be traded. Former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan has been in a Russian prison since 2018, and numerous dual citizens have been jailed when visiting Russia.
If you are a dual national and you're in the Russian Federation, you probably really should reconsider whether you want to stay or not. And that's particularly if you're in a profession like journalism.
Eva Hartog believes when it comes to international reporting in Russia, Gershkovich's arrest was a watershed moment.
Even people who didn't know Evan were completely shocked by this, because remember, this hasn't happened since the Cold War. And so the rules that we thought that foreign correspondents somehow being sheltered, being protected from what the Russian state is at the moment, all of that went out the window with Evan's arrest.
Gershkovich faces a 20-year sentence if, as expected, he's convicted.
The question for me is how long it will take before he gets out. So I think, fingers crossed, knock on wood, Evan will be released and swapped. That is how this story will end.